Today's lesson, I'm going to show you how to work out a dichotomous key. This dichotomous key looks at the physical characteristics of some of the salamanders in the western part of North Carolina. So we're going to go through the steps of working out a dichotomous key, but first let's take a look at the key. If you notice, each step has two alternative choices, an A and a B. So step 1 through 10 have an A and a B, and typically the choices are alternates of one another. So if we look at step 1, 1A, hind limbs absent, B, hind limbs present. So that's what we mean by two alternative choices. Those are very different. Another thing that I want to point out is a characteristic that you may not be familiar with. If you look at step 2, it says external gills are present in the adults. I just want to go ahead and show you what those are. There are two salamander species that have external gills over here, salamander number 6 and salamander number 10. So when it refers to external gills, those are the two salamanders that have them. The remaining salamanders do not have them. The goal of using this dichotomous key is to identify the name of all 11 salamanders. Another important point is that when you have 11 salamanders, your key only requires 10 steps. So the dichotomous key only requires one less step than the number of organisms that you are trying to identify. Another term that we use when we identify an organism is we say that we have keyed that organism out. We've keyed it out. We have identified that organism. This key is going to be using common names, not scientific names. And normally when you're using a dichotomous key, we use scientific names because we're dealing with organisms where we know their common name. However, with salamander species, since the western part of our state has the most diverse salamander population in the world, we probably would not know the common name of each of these salamanders if we were to actually be looking at the live specimens. So we're going to begin with salamander 1 and work our way all the way through to salamander 11. With each salamander, we are going to start at step 1 and work our way through until we have identified the common name of that salamander, or as I mentioned before, the terminology we use is that we have keyed that salamander out. So we'll begin with salamander 1, and we always start with step 1. So you'll notice after we key out salamander 1, we will begin looking at salamander 2 and keying salamander 2 out by starting right back at step 1. One of the common mistakes that I see students make is they will go on to try and identify the next organism, and they will start where they left off. And if you do that, chances are you will not identify the correct organism in your key. So it's always important to remember to begin back at step 1. So taking a look at salamander 1, we will start at step number 1. Step number 1 says hind limbs are absent or hind limbs are present. So hind limbs refer to the back legs. So whenever you hear that term hind limbs, that refers to the back legs. Forelimbs refers to the front legs. So we're looking at the back limbs to see if they are present or not. They are present, so our key tells us to go to step 2. Step 2, external gills present, external gills absent. We have already established that the only salamanders that have external gills are salamander number 6 and salamander number 10. So those gills are absent in salamander number 1. So since they are absent, we're going to go to step 3. Large size or small size. And we're not going to measure this. We're not going to take the time to measure this out. We're going to look at that salamander compared to the other salamanders and say that he is a small size, which is going to take us to step 5. Step 5, Body background black with white spots, or light colored with dark spots? Well, he is black with white spots, so we go to 6. 6 says small white spots on a black background in a row. B says small white spots scattered. So if we look at his white spots, we can see that there's no organization to them. They are scattered. And so we are going to key this guy out and identify him as the slimy salamander. So now we go to salamander number 2. A lot of the same steps are going to apply, but it's really important to start back at step 1. Because a lot of the same steps are going to apply just because of size and coloration, we will go through salamander number 2 a little more rapidly than we did salamander 1. So hind limbs are present, we go to 2. External gills are absent, we go to 3. Small size, we go to 5. Body background black with white spots, we go to 6. Small white spots in a row. So if we look at this guy, he has small white spots in a row along each side from his head to the tip of his tail, and that makes him the Jefferson salamander. Now we've keyed out the slimy salamander, we've keyed out the Jefferson salamander. Now we're going to start with salamander 3 here, and we're going to see that the hind limbs are present. So that's going to tell us to go to step 2. The external gills are absent. So we go to step 3. Large size or small size? Well, he looks like he's a lot bigger than the slimy and the Jefferson. So we're going to say that he is large size. So we're going to go to 4. 4 says body background black, large white spots irregular in shape, or body background black, small round white spots in a row on each side from eye to tip of tail. So right here are those spots that are in a row from the eye to the tip of the tail. So we have just identified salamander number 3 and keyed him out as the spotted salamander. Next, we're going to go to salamander number 4. Hind limbs absent, hind limbs present. They are present, so we go to 2. External gills present or absent. They're absent, so we go to 3. Large size, small size. Well, he's small size. Look how little he is compared to the spotted salamander that we just identified as being a large salamander. So we go to step 5. Body background black with white spots, or light color with dark spots. Well, he's light color, so that's going to take us to 7. Large irregular black spots on a light background. That doesn't describe him. No irregular black spots. That does describe him, so we go to 8. Round spots scattered along back and sides of body. The tail flattened like a tadpole. So we just keyed out the newt. Look how flat his tail is. It's flattened out like a tadpole. So then we move on to salamander number 5. Hind limbs absent or present. They're present, so we go to 2. External gills present or absent. They're absent, so we go to 3. Large size, small size. He's small, so we go to 5. Body background black with white spots, or light color with dark spots. We go to 7. Large irregular black spots on a light background. That doesn't describe him. No irregular black spots. That does describe him. So we go to 8. Round spots scattered along the back and sides of body. We already keyed that out as the newt because of that flattened tail. So let's look at B. Without round spots and tail not flattened. Well, that describes him much better. So we go to 9. 9 says we have 2 dark lines bordering a broad light mid-dorsal stripe with a narrow median dark line extending from the head to the tail. So we can see that this guy has those lines along each side and then right there in the middle that is describing. So we have just keyed out the two-lined salamander. Now we're going to go to salamander number 6. Hind limbs absent, hind limbs present. Well, they're present. So we go to 2. External gills present. Well, there they are that we identified before we began the key. We have just keyed out or identified the mud puppy. Number 7, hind limbs absent or present. They are present. So we go to 2. External gills present or absent. They're absent. So we go to 3. Large or small? Well, he's on the larger size. So we go to 4. Body background black. Large white spots, irregular in shape and size, completely covering body and tail. That describes him, so we have just keyed out the tiger. That is the tiger salamander. Salamander number 8. Hind limbs absent or present. Step 1, they're present, so we go to 2. External gills present or absent. They're absent, so we go to 3. Large or small? He's one of the smaller salamanders, so we go to 5. Body background black with white spots or light color with dark spots. He's light color, so we go to 7. Large irregular black spots on a light background. That doesn't describe him, so we go to B. No irregular black spots. That does describe him, so we go to 8. 8 says that we have a light stripe running the length of the body, bordered by dark pigment extending downward. B says a light stripe extending the length of the body, marked by a constriction at the base of the tail. So if we look right here, there is a constriction. That means that the tail goes in slightly right there. So we have just keyed out the four-toed salamander. Let's go to salamander number 9. Hind limbs absent or present. They are present. So we go to 2. External gills present or absent. They are absent. So we go to 3. Small or large. This guy's another small salamander. So we go to step 5. Body background black with white spots or light color with dark spots. He's light colored. So we go to 7. Large irregular black spots on a light background. That doesn't describe him either. No irregular black spots does describe him, so we go to 8. 8 round spots scattered on the sides of the body and tail flattened like a tadpole. We've already keyed out the newt. He does not have round spots. He does not have a flattened tail, so we go to 9. He doesn't have the 2 dark lines running the length of his body, so we go to 10. He does have a light stripe extending down his body, bordered by dark pigment going downward on the sides. So we have just identified or keyed out the red-backed salamander. Salamander number 10. Hind limbs absent, hind limbs present. Well, finally, we come to the salamander who does not have hind limbs. So we have just keyed out the siren. Last but not least, number 11. Now we only have one left, which is the marbled, but we want to go through the key and make sure that this guy is accurate. Hind limbs absent or present. They are present, so we go to 2. External gills present or absent. They're absent, so we go to 3. Large size or small size. He's small size, so we go to 5. Body background black with white spots or light with dark spots. He's light with dark spots, so we go to 7. Large irregular black spots. So look how irregular and large those black spots are, extending from his head to his tail. That makes salamander number 11 the marbled salamander.